Hello everyone, my name is Toby.
Hi, I'm Tammy.
And you're listening to Totally on Brand. Welcome everybody to another episode of Totally on Brand. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
How was your week?
Toby, let's not talk about it. Let's just dive right in.
Are we ever going to ask ourselves how was your week, and you're going to say
fabulous?
It was amazing.
Maybe.
We Debbie down? Like, what's the problem?
Okay, fine. I think we're just busy.
So let's start again. How was your week?
My week was good. I have health. I have life. I was able to work.
Really, darling?
I'm chilling. You said that I should. You said I should be positive.
She said she has health.
I have health. I have wealth. I have life. Everything is good.
What's stressing you at the moment?
No, Toby. This episode is gonna be very different if I delve into that. But it's fine. I'm good. How are you, girl?
I'm fine. I'm feeling very sexy.
I look at this dress.
Feeling very sexy.
It's giving, oh.
I know.
Drop the link.
ASOS. It was only like
drop
18 pounds on sale. I'll actually drop it. I'll drop it.
I'll drop it. Business says only 18 pounds. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about making money with your... In fact, what just happened now is what we're talking about. You see how she said I should come and make money with the dress I'm wearing? That's what we're going to talk about, because she's always thinking about money.
Always.
I'm always thinking about... To be honest, money makes life go round.
We're always talking about
today
money.
We're talking about how to make money with your identity.
Yeah.
Drum roll. I hope you guys are excited, because honestly, it's going to be a fun episode and we have a special guest. You already gave it away.
Sorry, no, I thought that was the point.
Anyway, so we're going to discuss the journey of how personal branding can be a tool for success.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't mastered this myself, to be honest.
Neither
I'm still trying to figure it out. But I'm slowly going into my content era.
Okay.
Slowly but surely. I want to figure out how to infuse myself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not into my brands, but I want to put myself more out there to be able to, one, command some form of financial, energy.
Yeah.
And also, more importantly, figure out how to share or speak more and do some other things that I've always wanted to do, but maybe I was too shy or too uncomfortable. I always thought mystery solved. I don't know. I don't know who taught me that, but yeah.
I'm excited for today's episode because I want to learn things about infusing, because as it is now, there's 0% of my brand, of my personality in my, I just can't even, I'm so shy and awkward that I don't really know how to use myself as So today I'm so excited because I'm going to learn from you and I'm going to learn from our guest.
Do you think I infuse myself? I said I want to learn.
That's what I'm saying. I'm also going to learn from your learning.
Fair, okay.
But I'm saying I'll learn from you, I'll learn from our guest, but I do not even, I'm just so awkward.
Do you think so? I don't think you're awkward.
It's only the people that know me. But I'm really awkward. I don't know how to even be part of my brand. But today we're going to find out.
Yes. Before we dive in though, if you're someone who leverages your personal branding at the moment to make money, or have a way where you have figured out how to infuse your personal branding into your brand, please write to us, share with us. We would like to learn. And most importantly, we would like to dissect some of your stories and personal journeys as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually say, what examples of people do
you read my mind. I was about to ask you the same question, literally. Okay.
So what's the question?
Who are the people that we know that have infused themselves into their brands?
I like this. It feels like a quiz. Okay, let's start. She's the it girl. She's one of the it girls at the moment who I really like. So Kai Fisayo?
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Rihanna.
Oh gosh,
Rihanna.
My darling.
Rihanna.
Yes,
she's good.
But what makes her branding? Let's talk about it. What makes her? She infuses herself in most of her brands.
Yeah.
So there's the sexy, Bayesian,
yes.
flirtatious.
Do you know what for me it is that she's very audacious? Because remember how Fenty launched with 40 shades? You know how Fenty was we have 40 shades of foundation. It was bold because back then no brand was going to spend R&D dollars on 40 shades because the research you have to do to go from this spectrum to this spectrum is much.
Fair enough.
So the way she launched, and that, you remember that was her like marketing thing. It was like 40 shades. No other, maybe like MAC but even.
But then she was backed by a huge conglomerate.
No, she was, but she made it a point that, guys, it doesn't matter if I'm going to be part of this group or that group. I'm going to launch with my own, like, how I want to launch. She had men, she had women, she had queer people, she had everybody in her campaign, which, let's think about it, really wasn't done 4 years ago.
Fair enough.
So she infused her own fearless personality into her brand.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it was. And then she was now like the like launching pad for like a lot of like other brands. Because even if other brands weren't as bold, all of a sudden, this person is 50 shades, this person is 45 shades, this person is 42 shades. Yeah. So she definitely infused her like lack of inhibition to,
I like that. That makes sense.
To launch her brand.
Other examples?
Elon Musk is in the opposite direction in that
guy is so strange.
He's a dickhead.
Okay, cool. Well, what does he do apart from?
I mean, come on.
Before Twitter, what does he do? Well, Tesla? Is that him?
Yes, but even like Tesla even is like...
So is that launching his geekiness and his love for computer and robotics and stuff into it?
Even his kids' names are like... What are his kids' names?
I don't know.
There's
like just the guy is super strange.
Yeah.
Another person for me that I've admired over a few years is Bosco and Quacktails.
Oh,
I love it.
I love it.
We're pretending.
I mean, no, we're not. Okay, so full disclosure. Anyway, let me not disgrace anybody today because Dari,
Bosco,
Dari. So Dari and I went to school together.
You did? Which one?
I feel like
primary,
secondary, which is like 2 decades ago. Anyway, let's not expose my age. Don't worry, it's fine.
I like him,
I
like how he has infused his brand.
I feel like the name Quacktails is like playing on like. Anyway, Dara, maybe I wasn't like as cool as the rest of the people in your WhatsApp group, but I feel like he always called himself a quack. And and then all of a sudden we're now seeing Quacktails.
Okay, we're going to dissect this. We're going to dissect it. Let's go back to our examples.
Okay.
What about I like Ori and Arami.
Oh, it's wellness. It's giving
She's so chill.
It's giving like chill. It's giving like vibes. It's giving clean. It's giving neutrals. Yeah, she's a good one.
She's a good one.
She's a good one.
Now, okay. When you infuse your brand identity, I used to be terrified to do this because I didn't want who I was to affect my brand. So when starting the house, it was, who are you? I'm very flirty. I'm very, if I think of from how I dress to how I speak to how I carry myself, I wasn't sure if that was the brand value of the restaurant itself. So I kind of dissociated both. But 3 years down the line, I realized that it was the more I spoke about the brand and the fact that I owned it. So for the first 3 years, you would not find me. I was not interested in sharing with anyone any of my involvement. I literally pushed my partners in front. But when I got a bit more comfortable with who I was as a person, I realized, hold on, like the reasons you started this are valid. And how do you keep talking about those reasons in a way that make people like connect to you better? And when I started doing that, so I started sharing with people how juxtaposed I was as a person. I'm very serious, but I'm not serious. I'm very deep, but I'm very shallow.
I know,
One minute I can be talking to you about the importance of partnerships and stuff. Next minute I'll be giving you side boob and saying I want to be shaking my ass on a yacht. And I used to be very ashamed and closed up about who that person was, but slowly I've kind of come out and I realized people are like, oh, I like who you are. I get this. I understand this.
We can be multifaceted. And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to admit that they're really multifaceted. Like, there's all these things going around social media about like, if, she has a piercing and a tattoo and this and that and this and that. It's almost like you cannot be a serious businesswoman if you have all these things.
Yeah.
And we know that we can be. Like, you can have, like, the expressive side to you, but it doesn't, like, take away from your professional side. You know what I mean? So I think that's why a lot of people are afraid to infuse their personality in their business because they're afraid that people won't take them seriously.
But do you still think there's some industries and sectors where it's still kind of difficult to be able to be that expressive?
Yeah,
because
of course.
Honestly, and I'm going to ask you this straight up.
Yeah.
If you went in to see a doctor or someone that was about to perform a life-changing surgery on you and they were pierced up and they had tattoos everywhere,
Okay, that's a good
I
question.
want you to be
That
honest.
is
how would you feel?
question.
Or your lawyer?
That's a fabulous question.
Imagine your lawyer came in jeans and t-shirts and a bunch of tattoos, and you're trying to like do commercial, like you're fighting a litigation battle. What would you? How would you feel?
You know what it is? I would have to check my bias. No, honestly, because
I like that.
2 years ago, I would have been like, how come my doctor, like, that thing of like, okay, even think about it now. When you go to the doctor, if your doctor is too young, you're almost thinking, are you going to kill me because you haven't been doing this long enough? But then there's the other side of things where it's like, if you're old, you're a dinosaur. You haven't adopted new technology. So I had to check my own bias. Now, let me answer you honestly. If I walk into, I don't know, like my lawyer's office, and my lawyer is full sleeve, 10 piercings, whatever.
Be honest.
Honestly, and I'm so sorry if like you're like
it's honest.
A member of my church watching this podcast, but I would nod at you like, okay, like honestly,
really?
now, I said this is me now, not 2 years ago. Because myself, who am I going to judge? I was actually
expecting the opposite.
No. Who am I going to judge? Okay. Like I feel like expressing yourselves in that way doesn't take away from your brain, and that's the thing that we don't understand. I think I would have to ask you
a direct question to say,
can you do
I'm
this?
Very direct.
Yes,
I feel like I would be like, sorry, I know this is very ridiculous of me, but I'm worried. Like,
really?
Are you good? Yes, because like I said, I still have a traditional and a creative side that they battle each other all the time.
Like that's why I say you're multifaceted. Like for me, it's almost like I had to like release myself from the shackles of, if this person expresses themselves this way, how does this affect their brain?
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't actually affect your brain. And you know who even helped me with this?
It's trauma. It's how I was raised. It's a lot of this can happen, that happen.
Do you know who helped me with this? Rihanna.
Fair enough.
It doesn't does it make sense? But it kind of makes sense because Rihanna is a shrewd businesswoman. Like shrewd though. But look at her.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Okay. So, that's interesting. Actually, I think we should introduce our guests so that they can help us dissect this today. Do you want to do the introductions since you guys went to secondary school together?
Okay, fine. Let's like let go of all of that. Today we have a really special guest to me simply because he has fueled lots of my drunken evenings. Actually, production, please cut that out. I don't really want to let people know that,
Why?
Anyway.
It's going nowhere.
This is a very special person to me simply because he has aided and abetted a lot of good behavior, bad behavior in between.
She became politically correct.
I enjoy drinking cocktails. That's what I'm trying to say. So today we have the amazing Bosco, aka Dari, but only I'm allowed to call him Dari. You cannot call him Dari. His name is Bosco. Welcome to Totally On Brand. It's really good to have you here, Bosco. Hello, everyone. I am Toby.
Sorry,
I'm joined today by a very special guest. Toby and I are very excited to talk to him today. His name is Bosco, and you may know him as the founder and owner of Quacktails, a drink brand that we all know and love, whether you drink, whether you don't drink. They're cocktails, mocktails, everything in between. And we are here today to talk to him about making money with your identity. So as all of you know, there might be situations where you can infuse a little bit of yourself into your brand, and we want to explore that today. So drop us a comment, like, share, let us know what you think at the end of this episode. Dari, welcome.
Welcome.
So for the listeners that don't know, Dari and I go way back. I'm not going to like expose our ages because we're Gen Zs, clearly. But Dari and I go way, way, way back. And so I just want to tell people that he has been as amazing and lovable as he appears today for the last... I'm going to expose my age.
You're about to actually expose what you just said you want to expose. How do you guys know each other? For the very
short period of time that we've known each other.
What did you guys meet? You said secondary school, right?
Yes, which was only 2 years ago. So I feel like... So yeah, Darren and I have known each other, but no, Bosco and I have known each other.
Yes.
For a while. And it's really interesting, and I love it. It's like a full circle moment to have you on the podcast today. Very excited. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here as well.
Yay.
Amazing.
Topes.
I'm excited. I've always admired. I love brands. Like I'm a marketer and a strategist by education. Is that the word? So honestly, like I only met you this year at some point, I think. We bumped into each other at Anuela
Yeah,
Cards.
in Cloud
And I
Factory,
literally
remember?
was gushing and having a fangirl moment. And he was so amazing. Like, he was like, I know you. I've listened to you. And I said what I
Yeah,
said
I
pod.
really enjoyed that
And
episode.
I really loved that he was so warm and he was like able to tell me a bit about myself. So it made me feel very like, he knows me too. Okay.
Two
Like, but
celebs
no,
meet
thank
at
you.
a
It was
bar.
really, really amazing
Yeah,
to
thank
meet
you.
you.
I love it.
Okay, should we go into it? I want to know so
Yes,
much.
no, even I am like super interested. And, you know, we talk all the time about branding and marketing and everything, but a lot of people don't know certain things about Quacktails. So I want to ask you, tell us about Quacktails. Why Quacktails? So basically, why did you go into this line of business and how did you transition into this business?
Okay. Again, thank you for having me. Cocktails, I don't know, I like to say that it's just a series of, I don't know if I can call it mistakes, just a series of things that just happened that got me to this position. I'm not even sure how things have ended up here, but I'm happy, you know. Cocktails, first and foremost, I like to think of it as a service that adds flavor to gatherings, and a gathering can be yourself and your thoughts, can be yourself and your partner, or yourself and friends, like, you know. So, you know, we sell drinks, some alcoholic, some non-alcoholic.
Why did you smile when you said alcoholic?
I think since 2020, lockdown year till today, we've had about 170 different cocktails and mocktails. So we've explored the different things that grow in Nigeria, and we've expressed it in drink and to our customers. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I think we're a drink company that likes to add flavor to events and gatherings.
Yeah.
Me personally, I mean, I think I'm a quiet person, you know. I'm very shy, very to myself. I'm a family man. You know, some people believe and some people don't, but I'm a very family man. I'm not as wild as my appearance may suggest. I think I'm quite conservative. But yeah, I mean, here I am selling drinks to good people in Lagos for now.
Ooh, yes,
And
absolutely.
wait, who is okay? So Derry is a family man. Oh, Bosco, stop.
No, this
I
is
told you
fine.
his name is Bosco.
So Bosco
Bosco.
is a family man.
Yes.
You see yourself as conservative, shy. Why do you think people do not link that to, like, why did you share that distinction immediately?
Yeah, because I think over here in Nigeria, people have stereotypical views of certain images, you know. So, I mean, I walk around with, I think I have 11, 12 facial piercings. And sometimes, you know, like sometimes I'm in traffic and people mean well, you know, like the people, the policemen and the traffic wardens, but like hailing me, Yahoo, but I'm not Yahoo boy. Like, you know,
They'll
I'm not.
actually say that.
Yes, they say that. You know, they're like, I know you. Like, are you not a musician? I'm like, no.
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 Oh my
Like, I run a
God.
business. I employ people. I pay taxes. I haven't been late on salary. So I feel like I have children in school. I mean, I pay school fees. My wife sees me every night, like, you know,
Yeah.
so I like to think that I am living a normal life, but maybe I like to express myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But people cannot almost attach that to your traditional sense
Yes.
of what.
Yeah.
I mean, people automatically don't, but then I like to feel like after we speak, then yeah, it's easier to understand. But yeah, I can't remember the question. What was the
No,
question?
No, you've answered it. You've actually answered it. No, that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Were you always this expressive with your image? Or was there a point, and what I mean to us, like I have tattoos, piercings, and I've learned to kind of be more comfortable with who I am generally and how I dress and talk. But that transition, I knew when it happened.
Yeah.
Initially, I don't know what a good or a bad girl is, or a good person or a bad person is, but initially I tried to conform because I'm a Nigerian girl. My mother told me this is how things should be. The environment told me this is how things should be. But I knew when the transition happened. Now, for you, was there a Bosco before? So if we looked online now, or we look at your yearbook, were you in a suit before and then you transition into like
how
Are
I
there
am now.
two different Boscos, basically? Not different inherently inside,
Yeah,
but
external.
appearance-wise, yeah.
Yeah, I think the way I looked before 2021, this is quite different from how I look now. I worked 9 years corporate. I'm standard like Nigerian boy, like, went to secondary school here. My parents thought it would be a good idea for me to school abroad. I went there, saw things that I liked, but I couldn't do because I knew where I was coming from. I came back home, packaged me up to work in corporate, which was not bad actually. I really enjoyed working in corporate. But when I was in corporate, I was very every day in a suit, clean shaved. But I still felt like there were things lingering from like my uni days that I was like, I really wanted to do this when I was in school, but because of the home that I'm coming from, maybe But then, I mean, cocktails happened, a business that suddenly started paying bills. And like I was in my 30s and I thought, you know what, I'm doing things that I should, who's gonna tell me not to do
Who's
things that I
gonna
want to
stop
do,
you?
like,
Right.
And I think I got my first piercing was these two, and I went to the piercing parlor with my wife, I told everybody around, my mom, very conservative, Pentecostal, Christian woman, she didn't exactly approve, but, I always tell her, like, you don't have to like, but I think I've reached an age and my actions have shown that at least I deserve small respect, so you have to kind of respect. So yeah, I think 2021, this was the year after the lockdown. This was the year where I had summoned some courage to leave my corporate job and cocktails, one way or the other, was sorting out most of my bills, and I thought, yeah, why not?
I'm just gonna go and pierce it.
I'm just gonna do it, like,
Do it.
what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Like, honestly, sometimes I think we need to ask ourselves, first of all, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Who's gonna check me and who's gonna stop me? Because we have to keep reminding ourselves that we are autonomous. We're adults. Like, whatever it is that society doesn't approve or your parents don't approve, at the end of the day, you have to make the decision for yourself and live with whatever comes out of that. So you mentioned something really interesting. You talked about how you were in corporate. So for 9 years, right?
9 years, yeah.
Okay, that's quite a long time. So, we had talked about how maybe sometimes people have like an inherent passion inside them that doesn't come out until they're ready. What triggered you to pivot into cocktail? So imagine you're going from corporate to researching, producing, bartending, creating drinks that make people happy. And you know what? I actually listen.
But I was gonna say, what corporate industry were you?
From a banker to a bartender.
So what type
But I
of
love
banking?
it.
The commercial, investments, which?
So I used to work in. Can I name names?
Of
Can I name names?
course,
Is that
yeah,
right
yeah,
or not?
banks, yeah.
So I used to work in GTB.
Okay.
And I love GTB. My family has a long history in GT Bank.
Okay.
And when I was in GT Bank, I used to work in the #1 profit center, I think outside Treasury. So I was working in institutional banking. I used to book and I used to offer advisory to oil and gas companies, big oil and gas companies. So it wasn't like I don't want to degrade anybody's job, sorry.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty important role. And I think the team contributed at least more than 10% of the bank's profitability, and the bank made profit, so it was dealing with clients in the billions, hundreds of millions of dollars, it was a serious job, and I like to think I was doing well because you don't get to that position without knowing what you are doing. So it wasn't like I don't know what to explain. It wasn't
I get it,
I sucked at what I did.
you were good at your job.
Yeah, I was good enough.
exactly.
Yeah, I was all right.
Let's not downplay. You were good at your
You
job.
were fantastic. You were bringing in money.
And then how did you pivot?
Pivot. Okay, so like I said, everything just kind of happened. I don't have like a Steve Jobs moment where this is my calling in life. It's just one thing leading to another, and I can tell the story. If
Please.
you hear. So as I said, me, I'm quite conservative. I'm quite introverted. I don't like going out too much, but then at the same time, I like to drink. I like a good living room turn up.
Yeah, me too.
But at the time it was a bit of a dilemma because to get a drink in Lagos, you had to either go to like a club or a lounge or a bar, and you kind of had to socialize. And I just didn't want to go through sifting through a crowd to order a drink. So what I started doing was I started building my own bar at home, and this is about 2018, 2018, 2019. And there's so much resources online. So I went online, started learning about whiskeys, gins, then it just went into cocktails. And just like with any hobby in like this current age, like the resources are endless. So I just kept on learning. I'm also married to someone from Lagos Island, and if you know people from Lagos Island, like they roll deep, like So my wife's family roll deep. So and I worked in the bank, and bankers like to unwind, when they can. So every now and then, like I'll notice, like when I was maybe had friends over to watch a football game, or when I had like a family function, I'll just like throw one of the drinks that I learned how to make. Like, try this. You might like it. And I noticed like people would come back to the house and they would ask for like a Long Island or a mojito. Like, no, people are not asking me for like Fanta or do you have Coke or do you have water.
Yeah.
They're asking me for like that green cocktail you made that. Can you, So I mean, it happened like that, and it was nice to know that like a hobby was,
lucrative.
So one of my in-laws runs a very fantastic catering company called the Ages. I love the Ages. They make really great food.
I love
Ages,
I love the
I love the
Ages.
Ages, yeah.
And one day she came over to the house, and I feel like she had like a mission. Like came over and she was like, if you did this at events, like it'll pop, like And she's saying that from a point of experience, And I was like, I beg, just like drink your drink and
it's
go in
okay.
there. Don't come and wine me on top. So like I think she had an event and she invited us over, and she had invited me over to make the drinks at the event. And so this was like my first event outside my living room. I had no experience working in a bar, no experience working in a restaurant. I didn't even know if the drinks I was making were the correct things.
Yeah.
I was making from the internet. There was nothing to do. I was just making it, So at this event, I told her, like, look, man, I can't collect any money from it because if I spoil your event, I don't want anyone to come and talk in my ear. And, me, I have a real job. Like, can't be dragging me for sharks,
Yeah.
So like I remember we agreed, I think it was like 49K to cover the cost of like the bottles I picked up from the supermarket. And so this is my first event, and people were like coming back, like people were gathering around like while I was making the drink. In fact, the person who was supporting me, my sister, because we used to make drinks together, like I'll make something and give her a try, and she'll make one for me and say try. The person who was supporting me in the bar was the cleaner from my office. I told him like, oh, there's show, like come, let's just package and see how it goes. So at this event, there was a lady from an oil and gas company who tried the drinks, and she was like, they have an end of year party. It's usually very huge. Like our company needs to be there. And I was saying, company? Which company are you talking about? But then like my sister was like nudging me like, yo, if there is money, let's just collect and see, maybe we can pay for a small vacation to Ghana or something, And I was like, okay, no problem. So I gave her my contact and she invited us for a tasting. And me, I had researched everything in my, so I was like, okay, no problem. I'm going to kill these people when I go for the So yeah, we went to the oil and gas company. But on the first day, they were like, we need to register as vendors, like, and we need to register a company and all that.
Yeah.
And we just thought like, it's like it'd be the biggest joke in the world for us to name the company Quacktails. Like essentially, Quacktails is like non-professional, like quacks, not like a quack doctor making cocktails. And like this joke is going to be on everybody. Like you guys have given us a job, So we registered the company. We did the tasting. It was really nice. They wanted us to do the event. But I worked in a bank, so my Excel sheet was
fantastic.
Yeah, it was already formatted for
profitability. I love that.
Ready.
So I was hearing these numbers and I was like, you want me to dress up like Game of Thrones, bring drinks in goblets?
Oh my God, I know the event you're talking about.
You're not going to pay me what?
No.
And I remember like this was my first. So I sent a presentation to the event planner saying, this is why you need to increase your budget. And they just replied me like, yeah, we've given job to somebody else, you know. And I was like, okay, I'm not even a caterer anyway, so you know what?
It's cool.
It's cool. Okay, so this was towards the end of 2019. And if you remember, at the end of 2019 is when the first news of COVID came up.
Yeah.
So we had a company, we had no jobs, and people said our drinks were nice. So I thought maybe it would be a viable side hustle. It was something I had the passion had grown. Like it was something I was passionate about, making drinks. And I thought, okay, if I was able to send samples to big event planners, maybe they would give us small jobs that were too small for the big companies like Mandy's or Eventies, you know, like living room parties. Okay, so we bought the pouches to send them out as samples, and we're just hoping that somebody will get back to us. But in the middle of all of this, we're in 2020 now. The government announced a lockdown. Nobody was going to do events, and I had a house full of alcohol, pouches, and a portfolio in the bank that was crashing because
Wow.
the economy had just tumbled.
Yeah.
So I'm working from home, restructuring all my loans, trying to make cases to our very shrewd management in the bank as to why these loans were not going to go bad despite the uncertainty. And in the middle of me trying to restructure very important loans to what I think is the banking system, people are calling me like, how far with that drink that you gave me? Like people were so sober the lockdown. It was crazy. So it was weird because during the lockdown, if you remember, if you walked out of your house, there was nothing on the road, but there were so many bikes.
Yes.
So I think it must have been one of my wife's friends or a colleague from the office. And I must have said, look, if you want me to send you drinks, are you going to pay me? And they were like, yes, they'll pay. So the sample pouches, we made drinks, and I flagged down a bike. And I think the guy that I flagged down is still, is a staff of mine today.
Wow.
And we sent the drinks out to a friend, and they received it. You know, I thought nothing of it. But then this person goes on Twitter and posts, I just got my drinks from Quacktails, you know. And then before you know, we had these social media pages, we had Twitter, we had Instagram. In fact, anyway, I won't go into that. But we had Twitter, I started receiving messages that how much for delivery to this and this and this. So in between when I was restructuring the loans, I was getting order requests. And that's kind of how the business started. There was no business plan or this identification of a gap in the market that needed to be satisfied. It was just circumstance.
There was a demand pull. Like the environment pulled
The
you
market
up. Like they
told you,
wanted
yeah.
it, and you were just
So
able
much.
to provide it.
And you know what? I feel like this is also very important to when thinking about timing. Like sometimes businesses are lucrative because of the timing. You know, like it's now is the time for this thing. Because I was thinking to myself, yes, I remember that 2020 was when I started hearing about Quacktails, and I remember being so salty because I was pregnant during COVID. Oh my God! All my friends like Quacktails, 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 and I was just like, wait until I drop this baby. You people are going to see. But it was one of those things that was very dictated by the current situation, right? So you almost tapped into an opportunity that was presented because of circumstantial things. Like COVID happened, people needed their drinks, people needed to get their fix. There was one thing you mentioned. You said you had always been a supporter of local ingredients and furthering the whole we can have good cocktails if we use Nigerian ingredients. We don't necessarily need to make cocktails with imported ingredients. So can you talk to me about how you as a person made that decision? Because what I'm trying to say is that some people have the same or similar businesses and they don't care about the fact that the pomegranate or the passion fruit or is coming from Nigeria. So can you tell me about how you as a person decided to make that decision to really capitalize on local ingredients?
I like that question.
Thank
It's
you.
very nice question.
Right.
So again, that's another thing of circumstance. If you go back, how I learned to make drinks was online, on YouTube, predominantly. And the guys I was learning from were people in Australia, America, like France. And like me, I'm this type of person. When I'm doing something, everything has to be complete, or else I'm going to freeze. Like you understand? Like
You're like Toby.
bro, it's
You guys are the
it's
same.
like I try to explain to my wife looks at me like, what are you crazy? Like just move on. I can't.
This is how I look at Toby.
I cannot move on.
Toby, you're my
It has to
wife.
be complete. So I'll go online. I'm
He
like,
must need to be. He must need to see. Must
yes,
everything
it has
must
to, like
Yeah.
you know.
complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll go online and I'll see this white guy telling me that he's using creme de cassis or creme de mure. And I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm never going to see this in Daytona or ShopRite, you know? But then, like, I just go back and, like, take a step back. Like, what's this? What's this thing really? What's this thing? And I just realized that, oh, it's a syrup that you can make. Like, if you have some spices, if you have some fruits, you know? But around the same time, there was this aggregator on Instagram and Twitter, you know, the grocery lady. Like, I feel like she shares the same curiosity that, you know, that I shared at the time. She doesn't have a farm, but what she does is she found herself in Jos during NYSC, and she realized that there's so many things that we thought couldn't grow in Nigeria, but could grow in Jos because of the climate. So she'd post like, oh, she found passion fruit on this farm, or she found a lady who's growing raspberries. She found like 3 different strains of or species of lemon, and I was like, whoa. So we have these things here. So the things I couldn't get here, I just sent her a message. Can you get me this, and this? I want to make this, and this. And that's where I started from. So we started making our own syrups. We started making our own bases for the cocktails. And I guess in a way, you know, it translated well because our customers were responding to the natural taste. Is that the word?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but it was circumstance because I couldn't get the things that these guys were saying. I had to make them I had to make them myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of why we call ourselves a kitchen as opposed to a bar, because most of the work we do is not really in the bar. Most of the work we do is in the procurement and in the preparation in the
That
kitchen.
is so amazing to
love it.
hear.
I love
I've
it.
never heard anyone like
Me too.
describe drinks like that
Me too.
before. Yeah, that's really amazing. Okay, so I love the story. I've been here grinning. The whole camera is going to capture me. I'm like literally
You've
just
been
staring
smiling,
at
girl.
you like with Google
You've been
eyes.
smiling.
But I want to ask, like, so you came across this business idea, great. I'm going to have drinks. I'm going to sell them in pouches. I guess the pouches was also a stumbled upon decision, and you've chosen not to change it.
Yes, it's very important. In fact, I dropped the events part because we had mobile bars and no jobs. But then after the pouches, people seem to want to call us for the jobs we couldn't get before.
Yeah.
But then we just like cut that off and we're like, we're going to focus on
On
pouches.
the pouches, fantastic. Now, why the name Quacktails and why the docs? So I'm big on branding. Everything I do. So I've just recently started I remember when I started the house, I was very big on our identity being a Chesterfield chair because of the comfort. Like I just wanted people to think of sitting down
I'm just sinking in, yeah.
and just sinking in. Exactly. Like so the whole identity was around a Chesterfield chair.
I love that.
Now, when I started the terrace, there's this beach I want to go to in Aruba that has flamingos. I've never been, but I know I'm going to go there, and I really want to go there.
Okay, you see the tropical.
Yes.
So
that's
Oh,
where
so you have strong
I
images when you create.
I'm a
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
person. Like my brother was telling me recently
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I see a picture, then I build around the picture.
I love that.
Now, I really want to know, and I live in a country that it is very difficult to take these things and turn it into a consistent brand image that even the people who work with you and for you are able to adopt in a way that turns a brand is stronger than a product or a service is stronger when it is branded and heavily like pushed by a story and people can have identifying markers. I want to know why the docs and why the name so I understand the Quacktails now,
What
Yeah.
But why the ducks? Where did that mascot come from? And what made you, how were you able to consistently infuse that to become the brand personality?
And also tell us about Pep.
Pep, yeah, Pep is the.
What's Pep?
Pep is his mascot.
So that's the name of the duck.
This
This is Pep.
This is
your
Pep.
I love
cocktails well.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
Okay.
listen,
You
you
know
know
your
when you're like
cocktails
a,
I love that. I didn't even know there
This
was
is
a
Pep.
name. I
I
love
feel like that's
that.
the answer to like a future trivia question that we're
I
going to have.
love that.
I love it.
So I mean, I think the mascot is like the name is tongue in cheek. Obviously, a quack and a duck, makes sense. But when I was thinking of like the concept of the brand, so let's I like to put things in time, like perspective. So lockdown has ended. We're back in our offices, and I have a business that demand keeps coming. I tried to stop the cocktails to focus on banking many times, but then people encouraged me not to, which made me believe that there was demand. I mean, I like quirky stuff. Like, I like to think I'm a quirky guy, but I also think in terms of selling and marketing, and this is my own philosophy. It may not be in any book or anything, but I'd like to think the strongest selling push. I don't know the word. I don't have the business school word. It's nostalgia. Like if you can connect to a
love
memory.
that.
Come on.
Oh my God, that makes me happy.
Barbie.
Yeah.
This is why I was smoky jollof, because people think of their childhood.
Exactly.
Their childhood.
I
And
say this all the
childhood.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
It's
nostalgia. If you can
nostalgic,
connect to a time where you are really happy,
Yeah.
to a thing
It's the
or
best
to a
way to
character,
sell.
like
Yeah.
it makes things easier.
Yeah.
So I realized that in selling cocktails in Nigeria, and in Lagos, it's not necessary that you have to sell hundreds of cocktails to people at a wedding.
Yeah.
There are people in their houses who wanted to drink. There are people who had their partners coming over who wanted to turn up, maybe watch a movie.
Yeah.
But I thought, how can you build an image? How can you build a brand that you can recall? And I don't know, maybe because I was a greedy child. I just remembered like Kellogg's. Like I know every character. Like if I see a monkey, I know it's Cocoa Pops. If I see
A
a tiger,
it's
I know
Frosty.
like the flavor.
If I see
Yeah,
those three motherfuckers,
exactly. The
Rice
flavor,
Krispies,
exactly. The flavor comes back to you, and I thought I wanted my own like Kellogg's character. A character that was that it's alcohol, but at the same time it's playful.
Yeah.
And I didn't want you to think alcohol has to be in a fancy bar.
Yeah.
I just wanted something to seem very like accessible,
Yeah.
and that's where the character came from.
That is amazing. That is actually, and how have you able to infuse that branding in, like with the mini dogs, with the
I was gonna ask about
Pep,
that.
because that's not an easy thing to do as well. Like, has it been? Did you hire a branding and marketing person, or has that just come from you?
I think it's just I don't know. Like it's just there's no like real guide. There's just things that I think are cute. I like cute stuff. Like I like it when people are being cute. I like it when you're not being forcefully marketed to. So the whole idea of the docs was like when we were trying to dimension from an events company to a retail company, and when I say retail, this is no minimum orders. We're going to, if you want one drink, we'll deliver one drink to you. If you want 100 drinks, we'll deliver 100. If you want 1,000 drinks, I was thinking of the consumer journey. So what's the consumer journey? As an event company, my journey ends with the event planner, which means if the event planner likes you, they give you a job.
If they don't like you.
If they don't like you, they give another person a job. And nothing against event planners, but the question is, for one consumer, do you just drink one time in like your lifetime? Do you just get married and that's the only time you want a drink? I was thinking people have birthdays, people have
Baby
anniversaries,
showers,
baby showers.
first birthdays, second birthdays, yeah.
So where I eat drink the first time was good. But then we noticed people would come and they had many options. And sometimes they would just go to another place.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, so the dogs are fine. Like you don't need to buy.
Yeah.
We just need a memento, like,
Yeah.
you know, so have
Yeah.
a memento, remember
Recall,
us.
brand recall.
Yeah, and maybe when you're at home and you have someone coming over
Yeah.
and you can't just be asked to go to the,
Yeah.
you just think of us
Yeah.
and know
Yeah.
that we'll deliver.
Yeah.
And that's just what it was. Just something cute and something to, you know, you don't have to buy, but just remember us. So at events, I tell our staff, like, and my staff know, if they don't buy a drink, just make sure they don't leave without,
Without
if they
a
engage
duck.
us, like, let them
Yeah.
leave with a duck.
I love
So
that.
they remember us for something.
And would you say you and Quacktails actually have the same values and identity? Like, who are you and who is Quacktails? Are you guys the same? Are you guys similar?
Yeah, I'm the quack. I have to be. I'm the quack.
So you are Quacktail.
Yeah.
I'm the quack.
Yeah. So let me ask
I like that.
Me
So
too.
it's you.
I've been the quack since secondary school.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So, you know how I feel like as a consumer, I really, really related to Quacktails in 2021. Because as I previously mentioned, I was pregnant in 2020, so I couldn't really like partake. So to me, and I may be wrong, there was like a whole slew of like imitation, right? You know, we've talked about this before. It wasn't the perfect imitation in that nobody can ever replicate what you've done. But what happened was it was either the pouches or the drinks or the flavors or the names, right? So Quacktails has sort of been imitated but never replicated.
Okay.
Do you think it is because of a specific like identity that you've poured into the brand, or why do you think that it has been very, very, very imitated but never replicated?
Oof, that's a very,
Love that question, girl.
I'm killing it tonight, guys. I'm
Oof,
killing
that's a heavy
it.
question.
Thank you.
First and foremost, me, I like the idea of other people making
Healthy
drinks in
competition.
pouches.
Yeah.
The reason being is I feel like we need more for it to become like a sub-industry.
Yes.
I
Yes,
agree.
you
I
know.
like that.
Yes.
And when it's big
a
enough,
lot.
Yes.
then maybe the ones who
You're still going to be part of that market
but
share
still going to be
Yeah.
part of the market
anyway.
share.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to compete properly,
Yeah.
but growth is important. And I always like to think of it like small chops, you know. Small chops is food, but it's not necessary. At your parties, if people don't eat small chops, they won't die. You know.
Yeah.
But then small chops is in every party.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I think. So there are drinks.
Yeah.
There's champagne.
Yeah.
There's a mobile bar.
Yeah.
But then if there's no pouch, the party won't stop.
I see what
It
you're
feels,
understand what I'm
it feels
saying?
incomplete.
So almost like
Yeah.
you want to even get the industry into a point where there are no pouches at
Right,
this party.
yeah.
So
Right,
you know
yeah.
what you've done for drinks
This
is
is
what Kleenex
amazing.
has done for tissue.
Right. I
You know
see
where it's
that.
like it's almost like a tissue box is now synonymous with tissue, whereas Kleenex made that brand. So now Quacktails has made pouches part of your enjoyments.
Thank you.
You don't like to admit it, I know.
Thank
We're
you.
trying to fight you, but like you don't like to admit it.
Because I don't feel like I feel like there were a couple of people who did it at the same time, but it's nice that people recognize us,
Yeah.
you know, and it's kind of been deliberate. As I said, like we wanted the Kellogg's and
Yeah.
we wanted the
Yeah.
brand to
Yeah.
be retail, not luxury, not just something that you feel like you've seen before.
Yeah.
But in saying that, mine has come from a place of interest or passion. I can't speak for everybody else. I know people have, and people are bold. Like people send me questionnaires. I want to do this business. What can I
Wow.
do? Even our pouches. Like I see people copying the pouches, and I'm like, why? Do you know how we ended up with this pouch? You know, people don't know.
What's your
You know,
reason?
like why you
What's your
using,
why?
Why using the same pouch? I can tell you for free. Like these were not the original cocktail pouches. The original cocktail pouches have holes
Finger holes.
where you can put
I
your
remember the
fingers
finger
in.
holes.
But during the lockdown, suppliers didn't have enough
Yeah.
to meet the demand that we had.
Yeah.
And we met this guy who was selling food pouches. So these are like for nuts and stuff, you know. And he had about 30,000 in his warehouse. Whereas the people who were selling cocktail pouches had like 300. And they were like, oh, they can't get anything to the country. But then we had people saying they needed more drinks,
Yeah.
you know. So I told that guy, look, give me 10,000 of your pouches.
Yeah.
And at least I know I can plan. And that's why. And since then, I knew like if I needed to buy, like I didn't need to buy 200 here, 100 here. I could buy in tens of thousands, you know.
Thousands.
But then like lockdown ended, I'm like, people start using it. I'm like, why? Are you?
What's your own reason?
What's your reason? I have my own reason.
But what's your
What's
reason?
yours? Like,
Replication?
Can I ask why you still handwrite the names of the drink? Which I love, by the
I
way.
love it.
It's so interesting because
I think it's part of your
it's like
brand
an
identity.
imperfect perfection.
Yeah.
Like you could easily just get stickers
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and stick
can.
it on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Why do you guys still handwrite
yeah.
it?
Yes, I said, me, I like me, my
Cute
own
shit.
values. I like cute stuff, and I
Yeah.
like to feel like. So there was this conflicting thing for me when, I don't know how it is for you, but as a business owner, there was like a point where you're like, okay, yeah, I think this is really where the business is. Like, you read so many things and you think your business is supposed to be something else. But there was a moment where I realized, okay, this is where the business is. In Lagos here, we're spoiled for choice, and the Lagos consumer is a simple but very difficult consumer.
Yeah.
So
He said it.
for a long
You said what
time,
you said.
I thought, oh, we need to do ready to drink where we go and build a factory and that's what business looks like. But then I realized people were not looking for ready to drink. People are looking for made to order.
Yeah.
And made to order and ready to drink is still the same prepackaged cocktail, but
it's
you want to know that somebody
different.
made
Yeah.
this drink
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like just handwriting is very personal.
It
As a
gives
human
it a
being.
personalized
Yes,
effect.
a human
Yeah,
being
I
that
love
wrote it,
Yeah.
So you know that your order was made for you by somebody.
And let me just tell
that's
you,
the reason.
let me just tell
yeah.
you, Toby loves process. Like Toby is
I love.
she loves process. So for me, I imagine that when you're giving your like staff the process, they know that the writing on the drink is the last step of the process. Do you understand? So they can never like let it go. It's just part of the journey of getting your cocktail from the kitchen to your house, right? Because I also used to think that Bosco is probably like delivering thousands of drinks a day.
And they're writing it.
They're writing it.
But
and
do you
the
know
only
what?
reason is because it's part of the process.
You know what I love about it as well? It makes me more willing to have it in my home.
Me too.
If there was a sticker, I would feel like I need to order it and take it out
elsewhere.
But
Yeah.
psychologically, what you've done is you've actually handwriting, you've
personalized
brought
it.
it into my
Yeah.
home, which makes it even more compounded, like you
Yeah.
said. Like I'll go to people's freezers and fridge, and I open it, and there's cocktails, and I'm smiling. I'm like,
I took
who
a cocktail.
is this guy?
I took 6 cocktails to London.
How did you take over people's lives?
I took 6 cocktails to London, and my husband was laughing at me. He was like, can you not get
No, it's amazing.
a GNT in London? I was like, yeah, but it's different now. I just want to be like on my balcony
And
with my pouch.
you've taught me that it's very important to not be scared to explore your identity in your business, because I won't lie, when I go through insecure periods, I shy away again. I'm very much you do you, I want to be separate. Do you think you and Quacktails will always live side by side, or do you think at some point you guys have to actually assume separate identities and sort of you have to let it go like a child growing up?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I feel like that's such a serious question, because of the relationship that I have with Quacktails itself. And I feel like Quacktails was just like such an opportunity for me to express myself. Like, like my so like my time in uni, like I schooled in can I go into my uni?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I landed from Lagos in Alabama, and Alabama was like a really conservative American state where you had to either be black or white. And like black was very loaded, like, hip hop, this and that. If I felt like a black guy who liked things that white people like, you are white, like,
Yes,
it was
coconut.
it was very like, and I liked some things, but I couldn't express that there. So I think my second year I moved from Alabama to Atlanta, and Atlanta blew my mind.
Yeah.
Atlanta was like the jiggiest black people like you meet like were in Atlanta, like and I used to go to a place in East Atlanta called Little 5 Points. I don't want to sound not relatable, I beg. I don't want to,
but why
but like,
not?
yeah,
Speak
so
your truth.
like when I was there, like this is where all the liberal people were, the people who are fighting for like human, people who had tattoos, the people who were doing small independent businesses. And those were the businesses that I liked the most. Like
Same.
on one side there's Buckhead where you have the big stores,
Rich guys.
the rich
get
guys,
it.
Yeah,
but then
like all the brands.
Little Five
get
Points
it
is like
Black
completely.
professional.
a nice
Yeah.
coffee shop where
Yeah,
you go in,
yeah.
they know your name.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's only
Yeah.
one in the
it's
world.
only
Yeah,
one. And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
when there's like a protest, like they're
Yeah,
protesting,
yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
I felt at home, like, you know. So I come back to Niger and I'm back in suits, being this. And I remember, like,
Represses.
This has definitely
Represses you.
is inspiring
Me
again.
too.
I remember, like, in SARS, like, I made a promise that when I leave GT, I'm not going to say anything bad about GT. Like, it's one of my promises. It shaped me very well. Like, you know, I learned a lot from GT. But I remember, like, I was so conflicted because in SARS, I was still a banker, but I was during lockdown. Like, it was during lockdown. You know, and we're out there like volunteering, giving out food. Shout out to Imotada Nicole,
Of course.
you know,
Yeah.
Camille. Like we're out there giving out food.
Yeah.
But on one side, like we're getting information from our bosses that you're not allowed to participate in this thing.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
against this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think the CBN governor then was really, really particular about like blocking our funding.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, I do not identify with this at all. So I thought this business was going to be an opportunity for me to really put out the values that I thought were important. So things like human rights, you know, pro LGBTQ, you know, supporting NSAR, supporting youth, just putting your morals first, you know, supporting politeness,
Yeah.
you know, when you are addressing, because we do be blacklisting people who are
course we
not
do.
polite to
Yeah, we
our
do.
staff.
We
Like,
do. We
you
do.
know,
We do.
be nice. Like, you
We
know, it's not about your money. Like, just be nice.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, these values and just the value of just being personal with people who were supporting you were things I just wanted to have, because it reminded me of a place when I feel like when I discovered like what I liked, you know, and I don't know if that answers the
So
question.
you
but
and
It
Quack
does.
are
wanted-
going to
yeah.
be on a journey together
you
for
are.
a
Yeah,
long
you are.
period.
You are.
Yes, but at the same time, I also don't feel like I am important to people who buy cocktails. You don't need to know me personally.
enough.
This is when I met Tofumi, and she said she was our customer. I was so happy because I don't know her.
We don't-
Like, I don't know her. And
yeah.
she was like, and I'm so interested in hearing it because I feel like I tell my guys, like, look, customer service
Yeah.
is two things for us here.
Yeah.
Only two things.
Yeah.
Customer service is not yes ma, yes sir, or
Yeah,
begging
yeah.
people. Is right product and right time.
Yeah.
Are we giving you the right product, and
Yeah.
is it being delivered at the right
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
And if we get that 90% of the time, our customers will be happy, and we can
Absolutely.
we can grow
So,
the rest. You
I
know?
get the biggest
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
and biggest validation. Like I was looking at 2018 figures, and we had 160,000 people have walked through our doors. I walked
sorry?
to 2018. Yeah,
Do you have all of these people's emails?
We do. Oh gosh, please let me not start.
Like, I just want to
database.
ask you about your database,
You need to
girl.
teach me that.
What are you? You said 100 what?
And 80,000 people.
Carry on.
And then over the past 5 years, I know we've definitely served
Yeah.
at least 500,000 people,
Oh.
like in terms of serving them food. Now, I was in the States earlier this year, and this group of American girls were talking about this. They were coming to Lagos, and they were talking about this place they had to stop by. They love the food and everything. And I'm not brave enough to say where. So I just kept quiet. And a friend of mine said, what's the name of the place? It's in VI. And she was, yes. And the girl goes, oh, it's a very quirky name. The House.
That's
And
validation.
I literally ran to the bathroom and I had tears
Yeah,
because
of course.
you don't realize there's something you did off the bat of no experience, nothing, touches the lives of people. Like people have been proposed to, people have built friendships, people have celebrated, they've cried, they've danced, they've built memories, people have pictures of their life celebrations in that same space.
Guys,
that
I'm jealous of you.
It's,
No, let me
No, that
even let,
validation is mad.
let me
Like,
even
is-
explain to
it
you.
gives
No,
me a
wait,
high,
hold on.
and that's
Let
what
me
keeps me
let me even
going.
explain how jealous I am of you. So you know what's funny? Like, I'm actually jealous of both of you because I've been listening to you guys talk about how, you know, the impact that people feel when they come to your establishment or they drink cocktails. Like, I can tell you that, Dari, I'm sure some people have been conceived because of cocktails.
That's true.
I'm
you
not
know.
lying
That's
now.
actually
Like,
that's actually
don't
a
be
valid
humble.
thing.
Just be, you know. Anyway,
Cocktail baby.
so my point.
Yeah. Oh my god. I can't believe we just said that.
I
on
do-
our
no,
pod, but I love it. But
sorry.
it is the truth.
I'm actually
because
sorry, you know.
Drunken nights, you know, you facilitated
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
memories, good and bad.
Yeah.
Ones that people even want to forget.
Anyway,
All
so
part of life.
in the back, so my point is, I sometimes, you know, as somebody who runs a service-based business, I can feel a bit like left behind because I almost feel like if you are giving people an experience that they can recall, or if you're giving people a product that they like, it almost feels like there's value. But I am just like providing a service. It's very intangible. It's very like, it's not even sexy. It's just like, you know, okay, here's your strategy. Whereas you guys are providing things, right? You know, you talking about like how many people had passed through the house and said, this is what I love. So it makes me feel sort of like I'm not doing enough.
But you're actually infrastructure that people build their businesses on.
I was just about to remember when we went into the MJB showcase, and literally we walked and I was like, this, her clothes and her prints are amazing, and you said I did that logo, like, which is on her outfit. I feel like at the end of the day, personal brand, and you said it when we started this episode, you said you need to definitely work on infusing your personal into that. I think that's literally all that's missing. But with service businesses as well, like, you can still coin them and position them as products. I think you can.
Okay, Dari,
I think you can.
I think like we've spoken, and almost every decision that I want to make, I feel like I run it through you.
Yeah.
So I think yours is even more impactful because
Yep.
you are impacting the businesses itself. So it's not, if you had more than one restaurant, that means you have her numbers and the other person's numbers because you are the foundation of businesses.
I can't move forward anymore without hiring a strategist or a branding person.
true.
And those are the things I've started learning to hire, because
Yeah.
if I want the longevity or sustainability of the message I'm putting across, I need somebody to come and think through it for me. A lot of the brands we talked about before Bosco came into the picture, even like a Barbie, a group of people sat down
true.
and
Yeah.
ideated and said, this is what we want to enact. It wasn't the owner.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
only just,
yeah.
it only feels like that because we're still like micro owners or micro entrepreneurs.
yeah.
But one of the questions I asked him is, how long does he think this journey will be side by side?
That's
At
a
some
good
point,
question.
someone needs to come in and keep that journey going,
There's
because
like
it will get bigger
yeah,
than
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
It will get
Yeah.
like so larger
Yeah,
than life.
yeah.
Someone has to keep an
Yeah.
eye on that
it.
journey.
So let's throw that out there. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this in like the next 5, 10, 15 and beyond years? Like, how do you want to like keep this brand going?
Yeah, I think I'm there now in our journey. So if I put in perspective, this is about year 3. And in year 3, I'm thinking, okay, this business is a business. It's no longer like a
not
hobby.
hobby.
Yeah, it's not a
Nope.
hobby anymore. First year, I was like, I need to get out of this thing.
how many
like,
staff do you have?
Today, I think I have 21.
That's literally
21.
you're literally
Yeah.
at the middle to
Of a
tail
small.
end of a small
Yeah.
medium
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21, and I got auditors in last year to put the numbers together, and I'm not like I'm a company, like I'm a company who's making a decent turnover, you know. So I thought in the beginning it was like, I'm going to do this and go back, and after that, when I say go back, it's go back to my bank job. Then it reached the point where, okay, I'm not doing this bank job anymore. I'm just on a, what they call a sabbatical, where I'm just exploring myself, and I'm going to dust off my CV one day and go back into corporate. Then it's like, okay, I need to hire more people now to grow this business up. shifted my mentality that this is going to, and this is a real business now. So what's the question is, when do I feel like I'm going to hand?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to do that as early as next year. Like I keep on thinking of the sort of people that I need to hire, the sort of opportunities that I have been around, and the sort of people who've approached to invest. In the past, I've run away from those conversations. Like, what are you investing in? Like, why do you want to give me money? Or am I able to grow this in scale in another city, in another state, on the mainland? You understand what I'm saying? Like, and these are things that I feel like I don't have the skill set to do by myself. Like, I need,
Festivals.
yeah,
Huge festivals.
I need people, and I think about it every day. I have some spaces that I am considering taking up, and I have a profile of people that I feel like I would like to work with. You know, people who I feel are equally creative, but not necessarily creative in the sense of drawing a nice picture, but then thinking of a business like this and being able to put it in a real business.
Yeah.
In a way that you might not even be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think by next year I'm going to set up a proper department that is not drinks or logistic based. It's just more ideation and execution.
I like
Yeah.
that. Do you have any
too.
other interests at the moment apart from what you're doing right now? And obviously, what you're doing right now has a lot of facets and like elements of it. But do you have any other interests?
In terms of myself or
Yourself,
within
your
the business, I think,
Is there anything else you think you will explore soon?
yeah, I think that parts of the business journey that I think has been interesting, and I think there's an idea there. For one, like I've come from system in the sense that if you want to go on leave, there is a process. But I've come into a small business where what the hell is going on? Like you
anything
know,
can happen. Yeah.
and then I've studied because I'm in a business that's more vocational than intellectual, I guess, you know. And I've seen the way some of my staff have interacted and the way they've communicated and the way they've been and I feel like in the future, and it might sound crazy, I feel like I would like to develop like a solution that meets informal with formal.
I
Or
like
you
that.
know,
Me too. And we all need it. We all need it. We all need
Yeah,
it.
so I don't know if that's an interest, but
So
it's something that I
I
think
guess
of,
what you're
yeah.
saying is your interests involve like solving problems within
That
within your ecosystem
Yeah.
that keep coming up.
Yeah, so it's just like finding a solution. Because till today, like no matter how many fancy things that we try and implement, the most intuitive application in our business, and it sounds so crazy, you know, coming from like process maker and bases in the bank is WhatsApp. Like and I always try and understand like why is it that there's no everybody that has come into the business from our riders to our
It's only WhatsApp
they
understand.
understand how to use WhatsApp.
I would try
like,
Slack. I would try
won't work.
emails. I
It
would
won't
try
work.
everything
It
else.
won't
We're still
work.
going back to WhatsApp.
To WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, so something
Yeah.
I think about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the other interests that I have, you know, but they're not business or things that will be, you know, returns, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very community-focused person. I like people in my creative community. I like businesses in my creative community because, you know, I like my Gen Z people, you know, because a lot of the Gen Z people, unlike
Our generation.
our generation of millennials, where there's very, very heavy message on conformity with us.
And restriction.
You know, and restriction.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is self-imposed.
Yeah.
But the Gen Z people that I've interacted with, I don't want to say free. I feel like they're moral first.
Yeah.
And the morals are not, you know,
Tied to how you dress or
how
how you
you
look,
look,
or how
exactly.
you talk or what you do.
You know?
Yeah.
you can see a girl who's dressed very freely,
Yeah.
but then she's very, very particular about respect and how she's approached and how she's spoken to.
Yeah.
And like it's just broken like my whole 30 plus vision of life,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just bringing that back into like the business, you know, so.
Yeah. Just for us to wrap up, would you say, in your opinion, it is important for people or brand owners or people who work in, you know, their careers or trying to figure out if they're going to set up their own thing, do you think it's important or necessary, and you could speak on both sides, for them to infuse their personal branding into their products?
I think it's important for you to have an aspect of yourself because it's not going to be authentic. Like you're just going to be following somebody else's template, and it will lead to exhaustion, in my own opinion. But then if you have your own character, but also allow some flex, because sometimes like my staff call me like, we have to have a meeting.
This is not working.
Yeah, this is not working. What you said that day, I don't, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is not where I'm coming from, but I'll accept it. Like for peace, but I feel like it's important. Like have your character there for longevity. I don't know how, like I survived 9 years being in a system that I didn't 100% agree with, and man, I've been doing this 3 years now, and I can't lie. I'm happy. I'm happy with the freedom and. The recognition that this is affording me. So I don't know. I guess it's something I say yes, but also know when to be flexible because you're not just the only person in an organization.
One quick final question: what other brand do you admire in the world? It could be local, it could be international, that you have so much respect for how they have play their brand identity out, and whether it's because the owner has infused it or you just like how they move. Can you mention a few or one to me, if there's one that stands out to you?
Yeah, I'm a local boy. I like my local brands. I like WAF. I love WAF, but I really I like Dialab a lot.
Yeah, I love Dialab. I don't know what it is about Dialab that has a lot of us on
It just speaks to like your innate sense of like ownership. Like you're wearing tie-dye, but it's also
cool.
cute, but it's also sexy, but it's also, and for me, I really loved Dialab when they came out with their boo-boos, but when they came out with like sexier stuff, like the crop tops and the trousers, I was like, okay, fine. Do you understand?
And it's just like that. Like it's tradition. Like it is tradition, but it is us. Like it's comfort. It's not taking it's just reinterpretation, and I feel like that's the most important thing in life and business. Just reinterpret and make it relevant to the people.
So I got WAF, I got Dialab, and we'll give
This
you.
is us.
Hi, bro. We'll give you links for sure.
This is us. Like
that's what you're wearing.
We know what we love.
Because it's the same thing. They're sourcing locally. They're producing things that are contemporary, and it's not in your face. It's not some.
And I'm sorry, but I feel like they also uphold like local traditions. So like for Dialab, This Is Us.
Yeah,
and also WAF, there's like an element of dyeing that is inherent to us that sometimes because of commercialization or westernization we can lose. They have embraced
Process
it.
is important.
They have embraced it, and I love that. That's
and the people are good people too.
Yeah, they're good people.
Shout out Ozzy, shout out Rookie,
they're good
shout
people.
out Johnny.
Amazing.
Oh man,
they're all good. They're all good people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have you
Darren,
enjoyed it? Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I feel like we just been here for like 2 minutes. Like I feel like we're having.
Oh my God, I love that. Like I don't even think
I love
this
that.
is good. Like we've been gisting.
No, it's been absolutely inspiring to meet you. You've given me confidence to kind of go back to my whys as a person. Like I said, especially in my industry where so many like beautifully aesthetic, internationally infused spaces open every day, like I do get a bit anxious and think, how do I maintain this authenticity that I want to infuse in my brand? So just hearing you speak about who you are and how you don't really mind that there's a lot of competition and how you're not worried because at the end of you're staying true to what you're doing has really inspired me as a person again and just re-energized me to kind of go at some of the things I did believe in.
That's lovely. I feel like, as I said, your episode on I Said What I Said was so important because the reason you started your business was building a comfort that you related to, and I have to always put that in my head. Like even when I think pricing, when I think it has to be something that is relatable, not something out of reach. Yeah, so inspire each other.
Thank you.
And obviously, like, you're my cornerstone
and
for
for me,
advice.
and for me, it's just been, it's very rarely in this day and age, and I think that's one of the things that is very unique about this Nigerian industry is it's very rare for you to meet the owner of a business that you admire, right? So a lot of us like consume Western brands, and in which scenario,
us.
in which scenario would we be able to meet the owner of blah 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 and say, oh, talk to me about. So for us to be in this really unique situation where we admire brands because of the thought behind them, the brand identity behind them, the like strategy behind them, and then be able to talk to the owner of the brand, I think it's such a privilege because it's like
It really is.
decades from now, our children will be talking about Quack Tales.
Yes.
But we had the opportunity to talk to the owner and to be like, okay, this is a peer. This is someone that I can talk to. I can bounce ideas off. So for me, I love that. Like, there are pros and cons to Nigeria. We've complained about the economy, but look, this is one of the pros. Like, we're able to actually talk to like change makers. We're able to talk to people who are influencing.
Lifetime, we're consuming our own products.
We are.
We're creating our own
and it's
ecosystem.
so
Our own
fantastic.
experiences as well. We're controlling our
It's so
experiences.
fantastic.
By God's grace,
Yeah.
this could be a course in university.
Yeah, and to be even
like
to,
I say, in local universities, local secondary schools, where kids start to actually look at you
the business
and the
model.
business as a case study, and
Honestly.
they apply.
Yeah.
Unlike what we currently experience with our education system. So we're actually creating the future if
And
we
it's made
literally
from our
process
experiences.
it.
And it's beautiful. So
Thank you
thank you so
for
much.
coming.
Thank you guys
Bosco, thank
for
you so
having
much
me.
for being on this episode. Thank
And
you
don't be
for our-
surprised if we call you back.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed
Honestly,
talking
part
to
two,
you
part two,
so
part
much.
two. Thank you for our ducks. Thank you for our
Thank
drinks.
you for
Thank you so much for
everything.
everything.
Derry actually, Bosco,
Bosco.
brought docs for everyone
That I'm
on cast
stealing
and crew,
immediately.
which I think is so cute. I'm eyeing that pink
I know, right?
bad boy there with the little swim costume. I
I'm
like the
taking
guy
that
with the
one.
bucket.
No, but the little chair is what I'm going for.
I think he already eyed that up.
there's 2 chairs. You can have the
Okay, you already know the guy you want.
have the
I
yellow
got
chair.
you. No, it's
No,
so cute. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much.
It was a privilege. And to all our listeners, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any feedback, let us know. Like, subscribe. You can watch us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. And please, if you have any questions for Bosco, if you have any questions about starting a business, staying true to yourself, infusing your brand, your identity into your brand, let us know. We'll be happy to do a part 2. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.